Jeffrey. Boring day after boring day puttered by. Life was back to normal, where everything sucked. We all thought about the same thing, but never talked about it. Not everybody together. Little groups whispered here and there. But that was it. I didn't participate. Too many bad, scary memories. Then something happened to break the silence. Jessica. Act 10, Scene 3. Enter Miss Kelsey. I came up here today to share some news with all of you, she said, with a smile on her face. How could she smile at us like that? Didn't she know? James is going to be leaving school. More sad news, I thought. Great. This is wonderful for James. He's been doing so well in school. He now has a chance to join a class like yours in the town where he lives. We stayed quiet. I knew I was supposed to be happy for James, but I didn't feel excited about anything right now. I think everyone felt the same way. Miss Kelsey started to look puzzled. She didn't understand our silence, but Mrs. Williams gave her an encouraging nod. The collaborative classroom would like to invite all of you to a surprise going-away party for James, Miss Kelsey went on. You've invited us to so much and done so much for us that we decided it was our turn to invite you to something. Plus, James loves you. You guys really made the difference. You're the reason he's improved and gets to move on. We made the difference. I felt good for a second, but then I thought about how none of this would have happened if it weren't for Mr. Terupt. I couldn't feel happy about anything, not without my teacher. Jeffrey. Miss Kelsey brought us good news, and it fired me up. James is leaving, she said. How is that supposed to be good news? Everybody I ended up liking, I ended up losing. Why did I even bother trying? Luke. We made our way down to the collaborative classroom. It was James's surprise going-away party. I wanted to be happy for him, but it was so difficult. Terrible, worrisome news. Mr. Terupt plus happy party, James, does not equal happy Luke. Invasive species are organisms that are introduced into a new environment. Since they have no natural predators there, they thrive. They suck up all the resources, leaving nothing for the organisms that were there first. The native species suffer and die. Going down to the collaborative classroom, I was afraid that our whole class would act as the invasive species, sucking up all the happiness with our sour attitudes. Lucky for us, the antidote was present at the party. The lights clicked on. Surprise! We yelled when James walked in. His face beamed. I automatically smiled too. And then it happened. James walked over to Peter and gave him a hug that shattered, dollar word, his shield. Everybody stopped and watched. This was the first time any of us had really looked at Peter since the accident. We had each made the choice to make him invisible. But now we saw him. James finally let go and stepped back. He looked into Peter's eyes. Peter, not your fault. Not your fault. James' voice rose. Peter, he yelled. Not your fault. Accident. Accident. The room was dead quiet. Holding its breath, Peter began crying, softly at first, but then he lost it. His entire body shook with each sob. I couldn't be a silent onlooker any longer. I stepped forward. James is right, Peter, I said. It's not all your fault. I told everyone about Mr. Terupt's early concussions and the bleeding and the looming surgery. Besides, I said, Peter threw the snowball because of me. I cried now too. Accepting responsibility can make you do that, I guess. I hugged Peter, right there on the spot. I walked over and hugged my Elmer Sneakers nemesis, and then our crying classmates hugged us. Thank you, James. Alexia. Isn't it weird that Peter called them retards way back when Teach first told us that we were going to work with them? And then it was like one of them retards that helped save Peter? We're lucky some people are so full of goodness, like Jessica and Anna and Danielle. I was mean to them, but now they're my friends again. I'm lucky. I was lonely without them. I bet Peter was lonely too, but none of us did anything about it until James said something. Then I felt bad for Peter. I gave him a hug. He didn't deserve to be all alone. It feels good being nice. I like it better than being the old Lexi. I hope Teach gets to see how he helped me.